Our first guest speaker will be Guy Perez with Ergomotion. Guy is Director of Global Sales, and Ergomotion is a manufacturer of adjustable bases for bedroom furniture. And Ergomotion has exhibited at IMM for many years, actually, and Guy has very kindly offered to provide his perspective as to the IMM show and what the show has done for them.
I do have a special connection to IMM. I've been going to IMM since 2008, as Kasia said, and it's been good for us. It's been very good for us. The very first time we went, we were a startup. The company got started in 2007. I got hired in January 8th, 2008, and 3 days into the job, I had to go to Cologne for this trade show. We actually don't have a picture of our booth, and I'm glad we don't, because it was very, very simple back then. We were a very young company, a startup. We barely had money to pay for the show. So yeah, third day on the job, IMM for 7 days, and it was a great show. It was a great experience. We learned a lot from it. And what our strategy was, we wanted to try to tap into the European market going into IMM. But what actually happened, which really surprised us, is we met people from all over the world. We actually opened an account in Chile and an account in Australia because of IMM Cologne. And eventually we were able to land some European accounts as well. So it was a great experience, and we got pleasantly surprised of how international the show is. We're an adjustable bed based manufacturer. We focus on the adjustable beds, so we tend to sell to the mattress manufacturers, and that's how we were promoting the brand as a component to your mattress. That worked very well in the US, but we had to make some adaptations for the European market. In the US, mattress manufacturers traditionally weren't manufacturing adjustable beds. In Europe, to our surprise, which we learned during the show, is that a lot of the mattress manufacturers also manufacture their adjustable beds. So it's a little bit of a different concept. So we had to pivot and change the way we marketed, which eventually worked. And we started getting some results with additional adjustable bed offerings to the current adjustable beds that these European mattress companies were offering, so that our product could fit in as a more niche, American-looking, furniture-looking kind of product. So IMM allowed us to notice that the European market was a little bit different than the U.S. market. That was early on. So we've shown at IMM pretty much not all of them in the last 12 years since I've joined the company, but most of them. There were actually some years that we had to say, hey, let's not show this year because there's a lot of adapting we have to do, right? There is a learning curve, you know. I like to say that I used to run the international market for the company. Now I run US as well. So I used to be more focused on international. And I used to say that, you know, you should focus more on the similarities than on the differences between the US and the international market, because there's a lot more similarities than there are differences. But it gets to a point that you do have to focus on those differences and adapt and pivot. So to answer your question, Kasia, it probably took us about 3 to 4 years of showing there and looking what the local market was doing. And maybe we could have done it quicker if we had more resources, but just the fact that we were there showing for a few years, we learned a lot. And there's again, what does the local market do? How do they sell? Go visit their stores to see what's the reality in the store. Like, I'll give you an example. We work with mattresses. In Holland, when you go buy a mattress, you sit down and you have like an espresso or a latte with the salesperson. Whereas in the United States, everything is quick. You walk in, you're there for maybe 20, 30 minutes and you walk out. In Europe, it can do 3-hour sales process. So you have to adapt to that. It's the same thing during the show. European visitors and some of the international visitors expect you to serve them coffee, serve them lunch, and spend some quality time with them. Whereas in America, things are a little bit more fast-paced and quicker and more, let's call it more practical. In Europe, you need to be a little bit more on giving your time and your resources on the front end before you see the results. So it took us a few years to figure that out, but we did. Now, because of IMM and because of the success we've had in Europe and Russia and the Middle East, we have very good business in Europe, Russia, Middle East, which we include as part of Europe, right? Our company. We opened an office in Eastern Europe about 6 years ago, in Portugal as well, and with about 10 employees. So IMM was certainly important for us to develop the European market, learn it, and establish our presence there.